everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Flatworld with your buddy Mogswamp. That's me. This is episode 98, I believe. Quickly approaching 100 episodes. Only took us like 8 years. Today I have very, very special plans for this episode. Behind me, you are looking at the spider farm, something I built a very, very long time ago. And there's actually a tutorial for this. Not that many people need a spider farm because in the normal vanilla Minecraft, you'll usually find cave spider spawners and stuff like that. I needed to design a spider-only farm that would work for the Flatworld because I needed a bunch of strings, so this is what I invented, and it's worked across all these years, as you can see behind me. Now, last episode, we discussed the 5-year plan for the Flatworld here, and one of the things I mentioned was that we were going to build a big cathedral to cover up this spider farm. I've been in a creative world messing around, and I think I've got the start of a design. Let's pop over and check it out. So guys, here is what I have so far. As you can see, it's a pretty traditional cathedral shape. It's just the skeleton. I'm just starting to work out, the block palette, how things are going to look, how everything is going to come together. Now, I'd like to use a mix of stone, cobblestone, stone bricks, and andesite wherever you're seeing the stone brick pattern. So hopefully it'll look a lot more unique, interesting, and varied in the final version of the build. Now, I've started the detailing just with the front here, and as you can see, I'm sort of going for a little spider design. We've got the red nether brick fences to sort of represent the spider's eyes, and the end rods hanging down. They kind of look like fangs. Now, this up here is the symbol of the church. It's not actually meant to look like a cross or anything like that. It's mimicking this design you see on the bottom of the farm here. I thought it was a kind of cool symbol for like a religion or something like that. Plus, it kind of looks like a spider's legs coming out. And it does have that cross shape to it, so you can definitely sort of tell it's supposed to be a religious symbol. I'm really excited about starting this build, so the first thing I'm going to do this episode is pop over back into the survival world. This is just my creative test world here, and we're going to start building up the skeleton of this cathedral. Progress update! So I've done the front main door of the cathedral. So I've done the front main door of the cathedral now. I think it's looking pretty great. I also laid down the outline of the rest of the build. So I'm gonna just spend a whole bunch of time building this thing up to the best of my ability. Mainly just the skeleton like we saw in the creative world. But in order to do so, I went on a big resource grind. I've got all this stuff ready to go. So it's a row of stone, a row of polished andesite, a row of cobble, a row of cracked stone, and 2 rows of stone bricks in each chest, as well as all this diorite, which I can make into andesite if I need to, and then we've got this chest of andesite as well. So all that's left to do is start grinding this thing out. Let's get to work. I think it's time for another progress update. Whoa, look at that. It's looking so good. Guys, I am absolutely in love with the way the cathedral is turning out. I think the varied blocks are really working. It's a new style for me. I don't usually do this level of randomness in my block placement, as you can see from some of my older builds around here, but I'm really enjoying building like this. I think it's really awesome to get out of my comfort zone with a really big build like this. And yeah, I think we're capturing the essence of the spider really nicely. So I basically ran out of the first chest of materials that I had gathered, but we still got the whole second chest pretty much. And yeah, we managed to get the skeleton of this building pretty well in place. So now at this point, it's just going to be a matter of fleshing it all out, and we need to design an interior. There's a lot of work left to do here, but I think the first thing I'm going to do is start with the roofs on this thing. We're going to use dark oak for the roof, so that should be a really quick way to get this thing to really start taking shape. So I went ahead and gathered a bunch of dark oak logs, and this should be just about enough to get us pretty much there with the roof. Once we get that entire roof in place, I'm pretty sure this is gonna start coming together really fast after that. So another cut here, and we're gonna try and put that roof in place and see how it looks after that. Well guys, I got the roof on, I've started filling in some of these windows with stained glass, and I think this thing's really starting to come together. I poured in a whole bunch of work just building up, you know, all the windowsills and everything. There we go. You can sort of see the pattern that the roof does, which I think is pretty cool. And yeah, we just got to figure out like how to connect these two walls here, and then most of this thing will be closed off. Then it's just a matter of designing the sides and the back of the cathedral, which I'm really struggling with, but you know how it is in Minecraft. You start with the front, that's the most important thing that everybody sees. The back can come later. So yeah, as you can see, even the insides are starting to come together just a little bit here. You can see sort of the dark oak wood and the spruce that we're using for the walls here, and a little bit more black stone on the inside. I think it's so cool. It's of course it looks just like a cathedral, but it's so dark and evil looking with the red and the black, and it just really evokes the spider. Like, I think these stained glass windows up at the top here sort of like almost look like eyes of the spider. We've got our symbol here. We've got this thing, which totally looks like a spider with the 4 red eyes and like little fangs hanging down. I just think we're really capturing what I set out to do with this build, which was, you know, Notre Dame meets like the giant spider from Harry Potter. So yeah, guys, I'm really happy with all the progress we've made on this cathedral so far this episode, and I found this design for a spider banner online, and I think this could be a really cool thing to start decorating with. But yeah, I'm getting a little sick of working on the outside of the cathedral. It's just been such a grind. So once I run out of stained glass here, which I'm almost out, I'm going to start focusing a little bit more on the interior and see if we can at least figure out what we're going to do with this giant floating spider farm and how we're going to sort of work it into the design here. Obviously, it's not in the best place for the interior design of this building, but I think we can find a creative way to sort of make it look better. I can't wait for the next update, 1.17, because we're gonna get that that glass that doesn't let any light through. So we may be able to put some windows here so that we can actually see the spiders without affecting the spawn rates. So that will be really cool. I forget what that new glass is called, but yeah, that'll be a really cool thing to add to this once that next update is out. But in the meantime, we just gotta start being creative and figuring out how to work this into the design. And also this area down here, we're gonna have to sort of close this all off and build a proper way to get down here in some sort of room where we can go and collect all of the string. And since I've been hanging out around here a ton, it's actually really filling up. For the first time in a while, we've got a lot of string in this farm. So it just goes to show that this thing still works, and it's pretty funny. You do end up getting a fair amount of bones and arrows from spider jockeys, something I didn't even anticipate when I originally built this farm. They're pretty rare, but still enough of them spawn that you get some bones and arrows, which I think is pretty hilarious. Hey everybody, so I've kind of lost steam on working on the cathedral. It's actually been quite a bit of time since I recorded that last set of clips. I actually ended up having to just build a whole new computer because I was having so many issues being able to record and stream Minecraft. And yeah, it was 8 years since I built my last computer, so it was about time. But yeah, I am loving it so far. The only thing is I haven't gotten a new GPU just yet. The GPU market is really crazy. I'd love to get an a RTX 3080, but they're really hard to get right now. So hopefully I can get my hands on one of those eventually. Even when I was just like researching the new computer build and doing stuff like that, I was still playing a little bit here and there. I just wasn't working on the cathedral. So I'll show you actually one thing I did work on, which was sort of revitalizing and revamping the mob farm over here. I finally, what? Oh no. Well, that was just slightly terrifying. Yeah, as you can see, that's what I was talking about. That's all the new stuff I built. And yeah, I guess when I upgraded to 1.16.5, I had a world corruption. So good thing I made a backup, and I make very frequent backups. So that was, whew. Here's what I was working on other than the Spider Cathedral. I finally got in the system to collect the items like fast enough. Basically, it required ice, and I didn't have ice for the longest time, so I've just been buying it from the wandering trader every single time I see him, and I finally amassed enough to where I felt like I could build this. And I actually, with the help of the lovely Kiabi, I was able to save out on a lot of ice and use less than I thought I was going to have, and so I was able to build this like a little earlier than I thought I was going to be able to. But yeah, it's working wonderfully. As you can see, all the items are being collected fast enough with this new setup that uses water streams instead of a bunch of hoppers. And yeah, it's just so fun to watch this mob farm. Anyways, as you can see, we got all the stuff sorting now, and I can like sort of AFK over here now if I want to collect, you know, a little bit of this stuff here and there. There's only like I can't even remember the chance of a witch spawn, but it's pretty rare. So this doesn't spawn that many witches. It's not a fast farm for any of these drops, but I'm getting tons of rotten flesh, which I plan to trade with villagers. So that's part of what I'm building down here, is just a way, or, you know, a trading hall where I can have a bunch of villagers that'll trade for zombie flesh, and I could just go back and forth trading as much as I can and getting tons of emeralds. So yeah, that's filling up, as you can see, pretty fast here. It's already filling up this column pretty quickly here. And then the same with gunpowder, which I am using to make a whole bunch of TNT now that I have a sand duplicator. So yeah, TNT is something I never had or never thought I was going to have on the Flatworld, so that's going to open up a lot of possibilities for me in terms of, you know, maybe we'll make a tree farm, cobble farm, stuff like that. My bones are entirely full already. I made a bunch of bone blocks, but I eventually just added this to get rid of arrows and bone blocks, and it still backs up, as you can see. It's still not fast enough to catch all the bones. I need to add another one, probably another module, to just spit them out into lava, because there's just too many bones and arrows. I don't really need them. God, I just love the way that cathedral looks on like the skyline here. I haven't worked on it in like a week now, at least, and I'm feeling like a lot more inspired. Sometimes you just got to take a small break from a project. I watched a couple of videos that gave me a lot of ideas on how I can finish off the design. I've got one other thing to show off, and that's a little bee farm. I was just kind of working on stuff around here, and I decided to give it a shot, and I basically planted a whole bunch of flowers in a grid, planted a bunch of trees, and every time I got a bee farm, I put it in like a little dirt box I made, and eventually I kept breeding them and got them all into these beehive things. I forget what they're called, and created this little farm. It's just a pretty standard bee farm design. I actually got it from Kiabi's redstone test world that was given to me in order to build the gold farm in our world, and I just yoinked it right out of there. So yeah, as you can see, it's collecting honey bottles for us. I guess once in a while there might be a rare chance one pops out. Maybe that can be solved by just putting blocks above, which I plan to do anyhow because I'm going to decorate this to look real nice. And it's going to look like, you know, built into one of these buildings. I'm actually thinking this might be sort of like you're walking along the street and this is like the window shopping almost, even though it's a bee farm. So yeah, we'll see how we actually decide to decorate that. But I'm looking forward to doing a lot more building around here as well. I don't have that much more for you guys, and this is going to be probably one of the shortest episodes I've done in a long, long time. But yeah, I really want to get this out because I want to start streaming again with this new computer, and the thing I want to stream most is the Flatworld. So yeah, I'm going to put this episode out and probably stream this weekend or something like that, so you guys can look forward to that. But like I said, I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And hey, I just have this pro tip. I get really annoyed by the red subscribe button on YouTube. It's just very disruptive. It kind of makes the whole page look bad. But I found a cool life hack. If you actually click on it, it turns gray, and it looks so much better when it's gray. It really vibes, you know, it just really vibes. So that's a little pro tip for you. Try it out, and it also has the added benefit of letting you know whenever I upload a video. All right. I hope you guys are, you know, having a great week. I hope you see me this weekend for some streaming, and yeah, have a nice life. Yeah.